In what is being seen as hugely embarrassing, it was a moment for Ashneer Grover as well as his wife Madhuri when they decided to board a flight from the Delhi's international airport. They were due to fly to New York, and this happened late into the night, and they were planning to go to New York from 16th to the 28th. What happened was at the moment they were at immigration, they were stopped because there was a lookout circular which was issued against them, and that's what the immigration officer told them, that there's an LOC against your name based off an FIR. Well, after quite some discussions, it was from the Economic Offences Wing, that's the EOW. Finally, he and his wife were allowed to go back home. Now, in a statement which has been issued by Ashneer Grover, he said that this is an FIR which was filed in May, and after that, 4 times he's traveled abroad and he has never been stopped. So he was very surprised and he was stopped at the immigration counter. But once he reached home, he found a copy of that FIR and he has been asked to join the investigations as soon as possible, sometime next week, by the Economic Offences Wing, or the EOW as it's called. Well, to give you a brief background, he is actually considered to be one of the co-founders of BharatPe, which is a fintech company, and the charges against him is that he siphoned a huge amount of funds out of the unicorn into those areas without it was being used for investment as well as for infrastructure. He's also one of those main investors. In fact, he comes across an investor and one of the high profile guests and stars on this very hugely popular program called Shark Tank, and that is where he's got a lot of exposure and which makes him very high profile. Now, as a result of this lookout notice or circular which was issued against him, he obviously will not be allowed to travel abroad. The clarification which has come in is that he has not been arrested yet. It is only an investigation which is going on, and they don't want him to travel abroad, and that's the reason why the LOC has been issued against him. And also to ensure that he's very much in the country, he's at home, very much in the country, so that he joins the investigations of the EOW. And basically, they're going to ask him questions and also probe into all the charges of siphoning of funds by him. As we know, he's a high-profile investor. He played a very critical role in the BharatPe investments into the entire company, and he was, of course, one of the co-founders. Now, what happens is, very briefly, when the LOC is issued, when you go into an immigration counter, when you're going abroad, there is a pop-up which comes up on the screens where a word of caution is issued, as a result of which you're not allowed to board international flights. One of the logics is that when there's pending investigation, there's always a flight risk, and to avoid that, the EOW files an FIR. Based on that FIR, the LOC is issued, and it's on the basis of that, of course, why he was stopped from going abroad. It's very clear now that till this investigation or the probe is over, he won't be allowed to travel or not be allowed to make any international travels. He, of course, has issued a statement where he says he's always cooperated with the investigative agencies and he's ready to join the probe. But he's also expressed surprise with the fact that this was an FIR which was filed in May. Then how come he was allowed to travel abroad 4 times after that, and why is it there was no movement on this FIR? So he says that there is a conspiracy and this is absolutely not done. And in fact, he asked this question, ye kya ho raha hai, and expressed surprise over that. But it's very clear now that the heat is on him.